Hey everybody, I'm here with Brad Olinger from Sterling Homes. We're going to share with you some hot building tips, the best communities that are coming out of the ground right now, and some other little tidbits on the tax abatement program and all kinds of exciting things. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, I'm sitting here with Brad Olinger, and if you guys don't know Brad, Brad is the owner and president, would that be the right, of Sterling Homes?
Yes.
You probably have some fancy title over there.
So no, if my title was project manager, I'd be happy with that.
Exactly. Hey, that's kind of where you've taken things now. So Brad's been in business for quite a long time. So I'm going to have Brad introduce himself, what he does for his company, obviously, and then we're going to get into some nice, important tips and information just so you can be educated when you're going to look to build a house. So Brad, why don't you explain who you are and what Sterling Homes is all about?
Thanks, Mike.
Sure, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, yeah. Got you in our back
room
back
It's
here.
always a good time. Yeah, it's always a great time to hang out.
Yeah.
So Sterling Homes was started and founded in the city of Cincinnati, one of the 52 neighborhoods, Columbia Tusculum, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. Growing up in the industry, enormous passion for the industry, but I grew up my father was a builder, and he built in a lot of suburban areas. One is the development that your father built,
sure.
Rivers Bend. So
that's how we actually got to know each other, by shoveling dirt out there.
2001, shoveling dirt, and Homerama 2001, which was a big success. Which we'll hit on Homerama 2020 that's coming up, and in our involvement with the Home Builder Association. But graduating college and being in the industry, I wanted to kind of make my own niche, and that niche was building in the city of Cincinnati.
Yeah. So you were one of the first guys, one of the pioneers to do it. I mean, there was some sporadic building here and there, but you kind of set up shop and you said, "This is going to be my business and my focus." Not to take anything away from anybody else, but I was like, you were one of the first.
I did. We coming out of college, the attraction of all of our friends was going to the city, Mount Adams, Mount Lookout, Hyde Park, and had spending a lot of time there. Me and my wife lived in Sharonville after college, but we decided that we wanted to live there, so we built our first house in Columbia Tusculum, and I put a model home sign in the front of it, and we started our business out of there, and we're still in the neighborhood right down the street now, and
office is still there.
Office is there. Office not. We upgraded and got a little office, but we've got a design center now. I'm proud of that.
That's one of those special things. You just finished that a year ago. Even that. I mean,
no, 6 months. So 6 months now. All of our customers, they can come there. They can feel and touch all of the selections that we have to offer. But still, we can go out to the showrooms and see everything.
No replacement for that, of course.
Yeah, it's great. But everybody's so busy nowadays, and with the internet, being able to cast up on the TV the different selections, the different designs, the Pinterest boards, and then placing everything together right there. The customers just really enjoy that, and it's efficient.
Plus, you get the nice country music that's playing on in the background, and Casey up there as well.
I'm a hillbilly.
You just tried to farm this weekend for Thanksgiving. We're obviously going to post this in a few weeks, but this is right after Thanksgiving that he's doing this. But it's a cool. I mean, he is obviously, your office is on the main floor of your office, and then upstairs is the big design studio with a nice vaulted area. I went in up before he actually redesigned it and really renovated it. It was not what it looks like today.
Nobody wanted to go up there.
No, it was hot. Remember, it was rough.
Nobody wanted to go up there. The team thought I was my project coordinator, one of our best. She thought I was punishing her by saying that her office is going up there.
Now it's the fanciest thing.
Now everybody wants to hang out.
Plus, she's like a few feet away from the drinks up there, and the little mini fridge and the alcohol. So tough days, but no. So obviously, Brad's been building in the city for a long time, and Brad actually and we used to shovel dirt for our dads way back in the day. So we kind of got started, when we were 15, 16, 17 years old, if not younger than that, of course. And then we went to college together, so we knew Brad. I knew Brad then. We actually didn't start working together until just a few years ago. But I've kind of watched him kind of come through the ranks, and it's pretty amazing seeing his dad's company and how he's kind of transitioned into Sterling Homes, which is a legitimate. I mean, you guys have been around for longer than a lot of builders here in town. I mean, how long has it been? What year did you say?
We started building in the city in 2009.
2009. So 10-year anniversary, pretty much.
Yeah, Sterling was 2012, but we started building in the city, and but yeah, 10 years ago we broke ground on our first house in the city of Cincinnati.
It's exciting. Now that's a perfect segue into our next topic.
Yeah.
Building in the city of Cincinnati, you obviously get the tax abatement. So, people don't realize maybe that it's in all 52 neighborhoods in the city of Cincinnati. Explain kind of what that means, because it's probably the number one question we get from any buyers. Most of the time they're asking about the city, but then they're also asking about other areas, which obviously the tax abatement doesn't carry on to Madera, Montgomery, those areas. But why don't you explain what it is, just on a higher level, how it operates?
So the tax abatement is actually, it's CRA, which is, to redevelop blighted neighborhoods. And the city of Cincinnati in 2001 did a study and it applied for a CRA. And a lot of CRAs are focused on different streets or,
that's
blighted
Community Reinvestment
neighborhood.
Act, isn't it?
Community, yes, correct. CRA stands for Community Reinvestment Act. So in 2001, they looked into that, and they did a study, and actually the whole city of Cincinnati as a whole was blighted. Some neighborhoods better, but for the most part, all 52 on an average became blighted. So the whole city qualified for this CRA program.
And if you don't remember that was when obviously people were leaving
the city.
It's not like
hundreds of thousands a year just leaving the city. And the city had to figure out what are we going to do to keep people and get people back. Over the years, a lot of people tried to do it, and it really wasn't until our OTR and 3CDC came in and really saw a collaborative effort in bringing multiple people involved to do it all, do a big project at once, because it was just too hard to do a street at a time. And at the same time, we haven't done anything in OTR, but we focused on the other about 10 neighborhoods, Mount Lookout, Hyde Park. I live in Mount Lookout now. I lived in Columbia, Tusculum before. Again, my office is in Columbia, Tusculum, so we do a lot there. The East End, Linwood, Oakley, we do those neighborhoods we do the most, but we've been Walnut Hills. We're in Evanston. So kind of focus on that eastern corridor.
Eastern corridor, exactly.
We build all over the city. I mean, we're in Mason, New Richmond, Anderson, but we started our business in the city, and that's probably majority of where we build and kind of where we've created that niche.
And if you actually go to your website, you can see some of the houses. You don't have every house you build, because you build dozens upon dozens of homes, but you can see, people can recognize the houses that you built on their website and kind of drive by them and actually see them because you have the streets that they're on, so people can actually.
And we focus a lot on when we build a house. We look at the character of the neighborhood, and we try to replicate where there's a lot of Tudors in parts of Mount Lookout, so we replaced with a Tudor with a house we tore down. There's colonial houses in some areas, we replace it there. We've got a great project in Mount Lookout Square right now, Linwood. It's 7 townhome units, and we spent months, 2 architects, designers, and going around and looking at all the streetscape and all the houses in the neighborhood, and I'm very proud of this project because all 7 units have a different facade replicating the character and the architecture of what was there before.
That's really important too, because I know a hot button item is teardowns in Hyde Park and Mount Lookout specifically, and obviously you're very sensitive to that, and you reach out to owners, neighbors, that sort of thing, to make sure you're you're doing it the right way, but also making sure that what you're replacing, whatever was either torn down, and you do a lot of renovations too, so it shouldn't be a thought that you're just tearing things down, but you look at it and you try to think through what will fit and what will actually be a blessing to the neighborhood, a good addition to the neighborhood, versus something that would just be good just to stick up for a quick sale as far as that goes.
Yeah.
The two go hand in hand to some degree, but it's still important to spend that time for preparation and for design to match the character of the neighborhood.
And we're fortunate that our clients recognize that, and they come to us because they know we care that way, that it's not about just what the cost it is to put up.
Exactly.
But let's go back to, we kind of got off topic here, but let's go back to the tax abatement. So in 2001, they had the tax abatement, and then green building per se became a big development. But really, it was leadership and energy efficient design,
which is the lead you hear
which
about.
is the lead portion, which kind of took over the CRA program because there was better benefits to building efficient
and energy
design.
Sure.
And as a custom builder, we're fortunate enough, we do all that stuff. It doesn't matter if the house is in Mason or Lebanon, but in the city of Cincinnati, you get a credit for doing it.
Sure.
And what that is there's different levels. You've got certified, silver, gold, and platinum. And for each level, it does cost extra money to do so. You've got to manage your water, your heat, electric, your insulation. There's third parties that do all of the testing and the documenting. We are very particular on our waste. We make sure that our waste goes all to the right places. It doesn't just get put into one area. Our lumber gets recycled. All of our cardboard and paper goes to a cardboard plant down on Wooster Pike.
Oh, interesting.
Cincinnati Paper Factory, I believe it's Cincinnati Paper. But so I mean, it's very efficient.
Sure.
And we're proud of that. We also are proud to be one of the builders that have built the most gold and platinum level, which that is the highest levels that you can achieve.
And that's important to talk. So to get to the different levels, it's a point-based system, right? So you get points based on certain energy efficient, or sometimes you get a point just because of where you're located and being close to a bus line. But it's hundreds of little items, right, that get you up there, and that's why platinum's more expensive than gold and silver, just because of the amount of detail and the amount of extras you get to put in the home. Is that right?
Yeah, and we would love every house to be platinum.
Sure.
But just like anything, there's a budget and there's cost involved. So we spend a lot of time on the front end with our customers to look at the ROI. And if the return on their investment makes sense to spend that money on the front end, then they'll do so.
Sure.
But nobody wants to throw money away.
Exactly.
Because if you do stuff and it's really not that much better for the overall goal, then unfortunately you can't do it. And that's what people got to keep in mind when they're thinking about, the CRA program is the best thing the city's ever done. And there's a lot of critics out there that are not happy with, especially when you get into the higher end custom homes, that why do they get a discount and we don't? Well, we had hundreds of thousands of people flowing out of the city. I don't know the numbers, I might be exaggerating, but right now this is the first time in I believe 30 or 40 years that we've got a positive number of people coming to the city. And it has a lot to do with the CRA program. And what people don't understand is when you have a house that is dilapidated and fallen down, I mean, we've never torn down a house that we couldn't have remodeled or done something better.
Sure.
I mean, these houses are dilapidated. The homeowners or the banks or whoever's selling them knows that they're selling them to a builder. They're not putting it on the MLS to sell to move into it. They're calling us directly, know that it's the house is worn out. It's the end of its lifespan.
It could be structural issues. We went one that was just molded through the nose on the house.
Well, we did with Pro Kids there. I mean, that's a prime example that the house was donated to Pro Kids. They spent a lot of money to research what was the best use of that house, and the experts said it's gone. It's too far gone. In a nice street, we tore it down, and probably one of the best compliment is the neighbors thanking us for the house that we put there.
And those people are just moving in right now. They just got in, and that's what's important to know. I mean, the tax abatement obviously is something to abate taxes, obviously. So that's the big part of it. But they've set up these mechanisms within that, the LEED certification, checks and balances, for lack of a better term, to make sure that what's replacing whatever homes were there before is something that's enhanced the neighborhood. Now, obviously, it's up to the builder and the client that's building the home to make sure it fits within what you're wanting to do, but that's different. That's where taste comes into play, and unfortunately, you can't affect that. That just is what it is. But if we look at the numbers, so if you look at, let's just take for example, you buy a property for $300,000, and then you want to go LEED silver, and that's a $400,000 abated, right? So you have a land basis, so you bought that property for $300,000. Technically, that's the basis you have in a property. Now, whatever it's assessed for can be a different story. Any improved value, which would be what you put on top of that land after the tear down, if that's $400,000, all of that's abated, correct? Am I explaining that properly?
Well, and your great point that I was going into there is that people are upset about the program and how people, get these breaks. But what we have to understand that the tax value of what the property was assessed for and what it was before, the taxes are still getting paid at that number.
Yeah.
Then whatever improvements they put on top of that, a portion of that is abated to offset the quality of products that they're putting into it.
Yeah.
If that product's not there, they're just going to put cheaper houses up. I mean, location will always be the number one thing in real estate market, and it'll be the driver of it. But if we have a client that wants to spend $500,000 versus $700,000, well, if it's $500,000, then we have to build a house that is at market. And $500,000 seems like a lot, but all our production builders are starting at $3,000 and $5,000. So if you want to build an energy efficient home at a family size house that they want today, and unfortunately that's where stuff is starting at.
Exactly, and you're not making any more money because cost is going up, land cost is going up.
It's not like our percentage is going through. No. If we make 10%, we're happy. And
that's a good takeaway right there. 10% margin on these homes, and then you're risking your money that you're putting into these properties, making sure they're the right ones, building the house right, making sure cost overruns don't happen. But I mean, the biggest key on the tax abatement is, yes, it saves you money. So investment-wise, it's fantastic because you can actually go that route and have less property taxes. But in 15 years, it clicks back to what the assessed value would be, and you'd be paying on the entire value of the house based on what it's assessed. So it's important to know
that's what we tell
it's temporary.
Yeah, that's what I tell our customers as well. I mean, in this city, so for example, of a dilapidated house that you buy for $300,000. Whatever income that person was bringing in to afford a $300,000 house, and you replace it with a $6,000-7,000+ property, you're also also people with income of that
what is
level
it? Cincinnati 2.1%, or it's high.
Yeah.
So you're getting that earnings income as well.
And it's a small number versus 1 to 2, but it doesn't matter. It's bringing earnings, it's bringing income, and most importantly, it's bringing people to the local businesses.
Exactly.
I mean, our squares are thriving. The neighborhoods are thriving. They're excited. So I think, it's just, we've got to think about all of the benefits before we just get upset that somebody else gets it.
Sure. It was meant to do exactly what it's doing. Now, it was, there's unintended consequences that sometimes a developer can buy a house that shouldn't have been torn down, that was torn down. It doesn't happen very often because a lot of times you don't see what's behind the scenes. But occasionally, just like anything, somebody's going to take advantage of something. Not to say that there's, in the end, it's that the seller of the property, they get to, their property rights, they get to sell to whoever they want to. But I only only say that just because I know there's been some issues that have popped up, and everybody has the right to say whatever they would like on that and have an opinion on it. But in the end, I think you're not out there to make and squeeze every dime out of a piece of property. You're trying to make an impact and leave great houses behind with happy customers. So I think it's important to say. I don't want to speak for you by any means.
No, you are. We're proud of that. I mean, and we do, we do care a lot. Believe it or not, we care a lot. I mean, there was a big uproar last year, about the abatement, and so we sat down with neighborhood councils, we sat down with the city. I was fortunate enough to sit on the committee representing the Home Builders Association, and we took the development community and we took the neighborhood community and wrote down what's everybody's concerns.
Sure.
Because, we need a clear path that if there's any problems that everybody's aware. The development community can't buy something and want to do something that the neighborhood doesn't want to do. So changing those subdivision regulations have given a chance for everybody to weigh in on what their concerns are. Because I don't want to buy a property and think that I've got this great idea and the neighborhood doesn't want it.
Sure, yeah. You want to get their input.
There's not an amount of money that's worth that.
That's well, one of my favorite things about there was a piece of property that we were looking at, and the first thought you had is once you designed it, you wanted to get the plan and all the details in the hands of every owner around there. So before you tore down the house, before you even got started, everybody knew what was going on. So you had them give them a chance to weigh in if they wanted to, and you'll take the phone calls and listen to them, hear them out. When that happens, you rarely ever get any negative feedback from any of the neighbors. I
think it's anything in life. I mean, transparency and upfront of what you're going to do is important.
It's key.
I mean, there's problems no matter what you do in life. The problems are going to arise. It's how they're handled.
Yes.
And as much as you can be transparent, you're gonna have problems, like I said, come up. But it doesn't matter if it's in what neighborhood it's in, what part of, no matter where we're building. That's just something we like to do, to reach out to the local neighbors, new subdivisions, old neighborhoods, no matter where. We like to reach out to the neighbors, give them our contact. Because they're our biggest support. If they see something that shouldn't be going on at night, odd that
the street gets left dirty afterwards, and you didn't, for some reason it was late.
Unfortunately, at the end of the day, a dumpster's pulled out and the street's muddy. We want to make sure that we want our sites to look good. So.
Now, changing gears for a quick second, what areas of town, or what are the hottest areas you're building in right now, like meaning community-wise? I mean, obviously we know Homerama. We should probably hit on that first for 2020, which is the first time it's come to the city of Cincinnati, which is exciting. So why don't you tell them a little bit about Walworth Junction over the East End?
Wow, this is, it's funny, I got asked to be on the executive committee of the Home Builders Association a couple of years ago, which is a ladder that you move up to president of the association. In 2020, I will be the president of the Home Builders Association, which we're very proud of.
It's a lot of pressure. You better be careful.
Well, it hits on what I just said in a minute. If you're transparent and you work with everybody, the problems that come up, they usually are easy to be fixed. But it's really exciting for us as starting our business in the city of Cincinnati and the neighborhood Columbia-Tusculum. Part of the Three Business Association, which is East End, Columbia-Tusculum, and Linwood. And for the first time ever, I believe it's ever, the Homerama will be in the city of Cincinnati, and that will be in the neighborhood of East End and Columbia-Tusculum. So I can walk to the site, which is
it's pretty nice.
Which is very nice, and it's the design exactly type of house that we build and we're known for. We've built a lot of city homes, and we're excited about this neighborhood. It's 39 lots, all river views, They'll be
side loaded on the one side of the street.
Side loaded one side of the street, all underground utilities. If you know the city, that's exciting. A park area, sidewalks.
Rear entry garages, which is nice too.
So the front facades will be beautiful on all these homes, and the river views are spectacular. We have 7 houses right now in the show, 7 builders, and 7 houses. 4 of the houses are sold. The price point's between $900,000 to $1.4 million. It's going to be things that you've never seen before.
Yeah, it's going to be special. Plus, you're not going to have to walk too far to each house. Yeah, they're only 40 by 120 lots, which may not sound huge, but that's a city lot. That's what it is. And if you don't know where we're talking about, Walworth Junction is, if you know where the precinct is, right in Columbia, Tusculum. If you turn right there, that's Walworth Junction, or Walworth Avenue. Go down the street where it did dead end, is now the new site. So it was an old brown field.
Which is, it's old brown field, switching yard. Partnering with the city to get it, TJ Ackerman Development Group.
Sure,
partnering with the city, and it's amazing what they've been able to pull off with public and private development, and how quick they're able to get this brown field that had been vacant for how long?
50 or 60 years.
60 years. And a lot of developers went in and tried to do it, and it was just so expensive. And taking the CRA program and a special assessment, mixing everything together to make this community, for a neighborhood that is thriving. East End, a lot of people, Eli's Barbecue, you probably heard of Eli's Barbecue.
Sure,
you will be able to walk out of the neighborhood under a tunnel and right out in front of Eli's Barbecue, which the city has named that area the entertainment district. And there's new wine bar going in.
Emma's Wine Shop.
You got Pearls down the street, streetside cafes or streetside breweries there. So you got a lot of.
Then you can close up the night over at Tostadas.
You can
for a little karaoke. Yeah, exactly. We had the bourbon out before we had to hide it. That's where we'd be going. But no, that's the cool thing about this. This is going to be kind of one of a kind. And Homerama shouldn't be confused with Cityrama, which is always in the city. It's a different home show that the Home Builders Association puts on. Homerama is typically the higher price point. So as Brad mentioned, 900 plus over here. 7 different builders that are going to be building. There's 39 lots in there. So the show's only going to be a fraction of what you could do over there. So you can build and design a house now and be in the show, which is in July of 2020, or you could buy a lot and build with one of these guys and be in there in a year or 2. So it's really up to you timeline wise.
Hopefully it's a 3 to 4 development is complete.
Exactly, 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
We did a development, was part of a development in Columbia, Tusculum, that we did a home show there, and in 2011 when the housing market wasn't doing so good, but we did the home show. All the homes sold, and the neighborhood just took off after that. Because again, these neighborhoods, a lot of people don't know about, or have so much local stuff right there that you can walk to, and truthfully that's what all of our buyers are calling about. They want walkability. They don't want to sit in cars for hours.
Tax abatement doesn't hurt, of course,
and that helps. But really, we got to think of that as a way to offset the cost of construction
and development over there.
Not so much as a crutch, because it's a tool that, the quality of home will have to go down if that tool's not there.
Exactly.
And we don't want, we want to keep the quality up.
We want to have the houses just like some of these houses for 100 years.
Stay there for another 100 years.
Exactly. Not to have to replace them consistently.
You don't want to have to use cheap products.
Well, let's change gears for a quick second. So obviously, Homerama is something July this coming year.
July.
Let's go to a more suburban product that's coming up. We have Peterloo Meadows, which is in Indian Hill, right connected to downtown Montgomery, right over here. You're building over there as well, or looking at lots with different buyers. That's the exact opposite of what Walworth is. But I'm trying to hit on different opportunities for people, because you obviously build you can build wherever anybody will ask you to within reason, as long as you can get there. But explain what Peterland Meadows is all about and where it is, price point of lots, what you'll be building over there.
As excited as we are about Walworth Junction, we are just as excited about the Meadows of Peterland. I talked about what the city buyer is looking for and what we're getting calls for every day. Our other niche, what we're building a lot for is, for families that want to be more of a rural setting and want some larger parcels, but they they want to still be close to all the city amenities.
Amenities.
Meadows of Peterland offers all of that. You got the large lots at 1 to 3 to 5 acres, and at the same time you can jump in your golf cart with the family and drive right out to the city of Montgomery and get Grader's ice cream.
Yeah.
You can go to Kroger's
right there too. You gotta be careful. They're gonna get ticked off.
I guess I shouldn't.
You better watch it. Yeah, come on.
Well, you get all those great amenities there. I mean, truthfully, I live in Mount Lookout now, and I've got a great neighborhood. There's 8 families there. Shoot, we got 23 kids under 8, and we're just really close niche. And as a builder, you're always looking for the next opportunity to build somewhere. And truthfully, 4 of us did a lot of research, and we were going to build there, but unfortunately, but fortunately, we're very busy right now, and that wouldn't be the best move to take on
to
building a new house for my family. But that's how much we love the community.
It's probably the first time it's ever happened like that,
right?
Where you're in Indian Hill, but you can yet be. You jump in the golf cart, walk up, and you're in the heart of a walkable district like Montgomery. So you kind of get the best of both worlds over there. And those houses are most likely going to be starting in the 1.67 range for the most part, given that the lots are 600 plus over there for a 1 acre lot, and then upwards almost to $1 million. That's just the going price, unfortunately, for lots in Indian Hill. Fortunately,
which is still a great price. I mean, if we're looking at teardowns in Indian Hill that are on hillsides, and you got to put $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 septic systems in there. This is all sewer, gas, water, electric, fully developed. So, we're talking some big numbers, but truthfully, it's everybody's heard of Indian Hill, so
and there's a shortage of lots in Indian Hill too. They're not easy to come by.
No.
They're not, especially the starting prices of the 600 to 700 range. There's not much. I mean, you can find $1 million plus sometimes.
That's why there's 10, I believe 9 or 10 lot holds now, and we can't even start houses till
August, right?
Yeah, August 2020 or June, July, August 2020.
Yeah.
So
now, I probably should have segued better into going back to Linwood. So you're building those 7 townhomes at 7, correct? Right there on Linwood, across from the church, outside of downtown Mount Lookout.
We're really excited about this project. It taken a little while to get off the ground. It was in a big hillside, but we took 3 rental homes. They were couple families living in each home, and there was no driveways. It was hillside was 100 and something years old, which building wasn't the same it is now. Trash cans were always on the sidewalk just because you couldn't carry them up the hillside. And we took, and right in the heart of Mount Lookout Square, across from Christ the King Church. And we're building 7 high-end single-family townhomes. There'll be 4 stories, 26 to 2,900 square feet. They'll have elevators, rooftops.
How wide are each of the units?
They're roughly 22, 21 to 22, 10-foot garage doors. So you got a nice big garage on your first floor, elevator that starts there, mud room, mechanical room, and then you've got your first floor of entertaining, your second floor of bedrooms, and what's really special is the 3rd floor that we call the man attic versus the man cave. that has a great entertainment area, full bedroom, full bathroom, and a rooftop balcony area that you can look down into the square.
It's gonna be a pretty slick view right there.
Yeah, we're excited. We're doing some grass on the rooftop, so it makes you feel like you're outside.
And they're custom. There's a lot of townhomes been built over here, but these are custom homes that are built right there. So and you're timing wise, you're framed up right now for the most part.
We're framed up. We're going to start. We just started launching marketing. We're going to roll out marketing slow because it is a feel and touch product. And even though you can customize and make all your selections, townhome building is up 24.5%. Which is just rampant because the buyers want, the walkability. Cost of construction has gone up, and we've got to find a way to still deliver a product that our buyers want.
And that may be the future going forward because density is such a key. If you want to be in these areas.
Every economist say that this is what the next wave in the future of buyers is wanting is. And for the older generations, this is a great product. You still have the elevators, so you don't have to worry about the steps. It does have steps still, of course, but you could literally lock your door and not have to come back for 4, 5, 6 years. And you can just lock up and go away. You don't have to worry about the maintenance of the house.
That's probably the biggest selling advantage, and why another project we have 70% empty nesters coming in there right now to townhomes because they don't want that big old house they had in the suburbs with all the maintenance because they want to pack up and go and travel, or they want to be back closer to their kids who are already living in the city. So I think it's going to be a big dramatic change and shift over the next probably decade or so. It's already starting to happen of people coming back into the city and being okay with these smaller projects or smaller products. I think it's going to be a change, and sometimes people aren't as apt to changing as they think they are. You go through the space and you feel like it's a little small, so it's just a mindset thing. But I think that's what's great about yours is yours square footage wise, you said 26 to 2,900 square feet. It's still a large home when it comes down to it, especially the space is allocated well, right? It's in the places you do your everyday living, which is nice.
And we've built a lot of these houses, so we know what the buyers want. We know how to take small spaces and make them, get the most out of them. The first house we built under Sterling Homes, it was 5 stories for a couple that was moving from a 300-acre farm in Kentucky and wanted to move back to the city.
It's exact opposite.
I think they were in their 70s.
Nice.
And they still live there now. I'm talking to them about doing something on Walworth Junction, and with the elevator, they say, you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly, it's all they ever need, right? Yeah. And most of the time, most of the people, unless you're forced to use the elevator, you're still using the stairs. It keeps you young.
Oh
right?
yeah,
It keeps you in good shape.
Yep.
So to finish up real quick, let's give the listeners kind of a tip or two that if I'm sitting back and I'm a listener, I'm saying, okay, I'd like to consider building a house, or I'm in the middle of the process. What's a tip you may give somebody that's considering right now?
I think most important. This probably is. It's either a good thing or a bad thing for our business, but most importantly, you need to be comfortable with your builder. If you're going to spend a year or two through that process, you need to be comfortable, that you trust them. You're going to have a good relationship with them, and most of the time they're not going to steer you wrong. So.
It's not just a temporary relationship. So even after you're done, if it's a year
my
build,
wife always says, every customer becomes a new part of our family.
Yeah.
And that's important. So I tell it to the clients when I first meet with them, and tell that, and don't always go by numbers. Everybody's got a different way they doing business, and you got allowances that you have with, research your allowances, make sure that you're what the allowances you're given will allow you to buy what you're going to want in the house.
Exactly.
I have buyers all the time that I tell them up front what it's going to cost, and and they're surprised and they don't like that number, and unfortunately we've lost some, but I've had a couple of them come back and say, you were right, we should have listened to you from the beginning.
Yeah. Because there's ways to manipulate that number where if you say your budget's $1 million and the house is really $1.2 million, a builder could technically skimp on the allowances to make it look like it's $1 million house, but then inevitably you're going to put that money right back in there. Not to say that's a ploy, it's the only way to get the house because there's the hard costs and you can't do it.
It's not, and unfortunately a lot of times it's the client driven.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
a customer comes in and they say, I'm only spending $1 million, and that builder doesn't want to lose that opportunity, they're like, well, if you want to spend $1 million, this is what you got to spend on everything. Yeah. And then they go out and they realize that, they don't want to buy their appliances at Home Depot at $1 million. They want the customer service of some of our great, distributors in town. And then they start, everything becomes an overage.
Mm-hmm. Starts adding back up. And that's where the bad experiences come into play sometimes.
It is. It doesn't, some people understand it. They appreciate it. But no matter what a builder does, if you spend more money than you want to spend at the end of the day, it's still a hardship.
Sure is.
So we have a 15-page questionnaire. Mm-hmm. We spend a lot of time on the front end picking through what each customer is going to want in the house,
sure,
so that we can tell them up front, you're going to spend this.
Yeah.
And even when a customer says they're not going to and they end up, at least we had that conversation up front, and it's a good relationship.
Sure.
When those
and it gets their wheels
come
spinning too, and then they get to make the decision when something else comes up that they decide, okay, hey, you know what? After all, I do want this.
Yeah.
So, well, Brad, thank you, man. Thanks for coming over here and having the conversation with us.
Always
just want to educate it, of course. And Brad's going to be the president of the HBA, as he kind of hit on. I wanted to ask him more questions on that, but he was a little bit. He didn't want to put that out there too much and kind of flex those guns, for lack of a better term. But Brad's been heavily involved in the HBA over the past 5, 6, 7 years for a while. So he'll be president the next year, which helps helps not just the builder relations, but also helps policies, helps so much of our industry and what kind of will filter down to affect the end buyer. So it's really important, and he spends a heck of a lot of time doing it. So special thanks to Alan Gerbis, who's doing it this past year, Brad for next year, because it's a lot of time and effort, and for making the time to actually come out here and chat with us a little bit and letting the listeners hear what we have to say.
Anytime, we love it.
Thanks, bud. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care. There's the patented wave there, Brad. Yeah, see. And thanks for ordering the best.